Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have an anonymous male left behind and forward-moving spouse. He has a bomb drop of June 19th, 2022, and a date of marriage of 1994. He's not yet familiar with the energy level and context type terms. So first, from the question, I would say high energy replayer. He says, my wife and I had a blow up on a vacation and she left and never came back. She filed for divorce shortly after. We are not in contact. She's been pushing me away for a long time. So I would want to know how long that is maybe. And through counseling, is this counseling since bomb drop? Or counseling that's been part of this pushing away for a long time? Through counseling, I've been told she is a self-empowered, codependent, love-avoidant, borderline narcissist. And me personally, I always have concerns about that. Kind of, was this something that she was diagnosed with her in the room and has a diagnosis? Was this something the counselor told you because you're going alone and it was your description? And is this the counselor's description of you based on her behavior since bomb drop or within that context? Or is this based on the behavior of her over your entire lifetime together, that you've seen her and known her? Because some of those things, borderline narcissist, like being a narcissist, if you're actually not, let's not say borderline. I'm going to assume that she meant borderline narcissist as in close to narcissist, not there's personality disorders and one is called borderline and one's called narcissist. So I'm assuming she meant she was close to being a narcissistic personality disorder diagnosis. But that's something you would have seen for your whole time together, probably. And in MLC, I do say that typically male MLC members become like narcissists to the point they would check enough boxes. Yep, narcissistic personality disorder, except this one important one, it's new. They weren't that way before. Women, I tend to say, have more tendency toward appearing like a borderline. But same thing. It hasn't been going on for your entire relationship together. It's isolated to the midlife crisis. So we go on. She's 52. She got a boob job at 50. Started bootie at 51. What's booty? Is it like twerking? She started dressing like a 23-year-old college girl at 50. Started drinking heavily. Now, all of those, this is why I said high energy replayer. But here's this next one. Started using stronger drugs. What does stronger drugs mean? Was she already a drug user and abuser? Was she an addict or just a user abuser? And unless you're simply talking, she was a tokehead and was smoking pot. But if there were other drugs involved, is speaking to this not being a whole new lifestyle. Constantly looking for outside validation, and the big fight was over a picture she sent that was her half naked on a toilet to another guy that is a swinger. I don't know what else to say, but there are a lot of things that have happened over our 28 years of marriage that I did and she did that weren't great. I'd like to dive into this a little more to try and make sense of what's happening. So some of it is, you say your bomb drop was June 19th when you blew up on vacation, when you had the fight. And given some of this behavior, sometimes we do recognize behavior in hindsight. But you're recognizing this and you've known it. She's been pushing you away for a long, long time. Certain things, boob drop, all of these are markers that I'm wondering if there's a bomb drop before this. Let's say she wasn't like this. The biggest concern I had that make me think this is more lifestyle than others is a lot has happened over your 28 years of marriage that you both did that wasn't great. And that she started taking stronger drugs. Not she started taking drugs, but stronger. But without those, I would say yes, midlife crisis. And I would be looking for a bomb drop that was more closer to when you really noticed those changes. Now, if your lifestyle was a little bit more frat boy, party boy lifestyle, where you said you're not proud of everything, things weren't always great, you've gone through a lot in your 28 years, was the reason that you didn't either have a bomb drop or notice a bomb drop when she started pushing you away a long time ago, and she was dressing like a 23-year-old, she was drinking heavily, she was doing stronger drugs and getting a boob job, was because it wasn't as far off the course of your lifestyle. Then for many that have bomb drop, that is a complete 180. And so we notice it, and it doesn't usually start in a big way until we have a bomb drop, and then the person feels a freedom. So those are the questions I have for you. It doesn't mean it's not a midlife crisis. It just means that it's not as clear a barrier to a midlife crisis. And what type is she? So definitely high energy replayer. Definitely high energy at this point, given these behaviors, given the starting dressing like a 23-year-old college girl, the drinking, all of that. These are avoidant behaviors as well, but she's also trying to be a 23-year-old. Not being familiar with the energy level that's our contact type. Contact type, you haven't had any, we are no contact. Does that mean you haven't talked to her at all since June 19th? Or you've talked to her once, twice, and if so, who has initiated those contacts? If you initiated, did she respond back? If you haven't talked to her at all and she's been able to stay away, and maybe you've only seen, the only contact is she filed for divorce and you got a notice you got served. So it's through the courts. She might be a vanisher. It's not really long enough to tell for certain. She could start contacting more and she could be an off and on. But looking distant contactor. Now, clinging boomerang. If she contacts you regularly, and was saying things like, I just need you to believe in me. Oh, I think I'm having regrets. I love you. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if we can make it work out. I wish we could make it work out. Or if there seems to be a neediness in her, that would be clinging. Regular boomerang and clinging boomerang, contact frequency might be the same, but a regular boomerang might not have the emotional connection involved with it. Now, the emotional connection, when you say that, I say that, it doesn't mean it's positive. They could be monstering at you, but monstering at you because they're trying to destroy your hope. They really, only because they're afraid. They're trying to martyr yourself for you. There are lots of different reasons, but that might be one. Whereas a boomerang might seem a little bit more detached and be able to seem to control their emotions in front of you. They might seem a little more indifferent. For you, if you don't have contact with her, it doesn't mean she's indifferent or not, because you can't tell. But she is a distant contactor, so probably vanisher off and on. Although, like I said, with a June bomb drop, it's hard to tell. And since she did just leave then, I don't know how your time clock is going, because I don't know if we look back, if we'd find a real bomb drop where she said, you know what, this isn't working. And you're considering it a bomb drop June 19th of this year because you had a fight. She left, didn't come back, and filed because there were very specific and clear actions that came from that. But the thing is, many of the people on the forums and the Facebook page and out there that are dealing with a midlife crisis, they don't have clear action. Their spouse might leave in a few weeks or months, or they might not. And so there's a bomb drop, but they don't do anything after bomb drop. They change their behavior, but maybe they stay at the house. Or they do leave. They send mixed messages and don't file for divorce. Or they don't send as many mixed messages, but it feels that way. But they still don't file for divorce. Yours had some very clear behaviors with that. But bomb drop doesn't have to come with those clear behaviors. So there might be something that was further back. Think about some triggers that she might have had that could have put her into a midlife crisis. Triggers are the death of a parent or a friend or a family member, illness, personal illness, the fear of losing that a family member that hasn't died yet, some losing a job, an accident, illness, anything that could have been traumatic in their life. And also something that could have been small and you might not know about, something that maybe was personally traumatic, but she doesn't even have an awareness. And maybe it got her thinking. Maybe a trigger is going to a high school reunion, seeing everybody successful, or seeing your high school boyfriend or girlfriend, and maybe not meeting. Maybe it's not an old flame situation where you connect, but just seeing them again. And maybe it was from a distance and they're married to your former best friend now. And oh my God. And it just cascades your thoughts. So there can be a lot of different things that are triggers that you might not even be aware of. And the MLCer might not even be aware of it. But think back if there's something that might have been a trigger within the last 12 to 36 months, or within the last just up to 36 months from bomb drop before up to that. Now, you want to dive into midlife crisis and understand what's going on? Take Understanding Midlife Crisis if you haven't already. Take the free course. Go through it. That is a basic course just to give you a basic understanding. It's not about the healing part, which is more important. Healing is the most important. Looking back at yourself, because as you said, over 28 years that you made, you did things that weren't great, as well. So taking an account for yourself of what you need to work on, because no matter what, you have to heal yourself, work on your self-development, get some insight into yourself and what you need to improve in you. She's going to go on her journey. And in the meantime, you can be there going on your journey. And when she does have contact with you, maybe she'll see an improved you and go, wow. She might say, wow, I'm so glad he's doing better. And that's it. Or it's good I got away. He's doing so much better without me. Or, wow, what does he have that I don't have? I need some of that. I wish I had that. But it's important to understand if she's in a midlife crisis, she might need some of that. I want some of that. I want some of the magic that he's got, because why is he thriving? Even though you're not thriving, but you're doing well given the circumstances. She's not out of a crisis, though. Just because she's looking back at you, if that happens, midlife crisis is 3 to upwards of 7 years. You need to understand that MLCers, not necessarily distant contactors as often or at all, but clinging boomerangs especially, they come home. They come home prematurely, not ready, and they go away again. They get confused. So you might have cycles of good, and you'll get very confused. Oh, I thought we were getting better. Oh, she broke up with the alienator. I thought we were getting better. Oh, she's back together with the alienator, and I'm devastated. These are the cycles we see over and over and over again. So I want you to understand what is happening and what may be likely to happen so that you can prepare for it mentally, so that you can then redirect your attention towards your own healing. Okay? I hope this is helpful, and I'll see everybody else in the next question.